these are my oars that came with my lugger, and they're in pretty good nick. I reckon we'll get another season out of them before we have to sort of properly renovate them. However, there's a couple of problems with them. Well, the first one I'm just going to show you now is the ends of these, especially this oar, look a little bit worse for wear. I mean, there's a split all the way down here, and you know, they have been glued and they are quite solid, but they will need attention. So this one's actually okay. Just right at the end we got a split, so we're probably going to need to maybe fiberglass them just to give them a bit more life. And then the other thing is whilst they've got some nice leather, whatever these are called, sleeves, I like to have a little ring at the end, so it stops the oars from, you know, just falling out of the rowlocks or rowlocks. I'm just not that good at rowing right now, especially the lugger. So what we're going to do, we're going to measure these. I've got my handy little measuring calipers. Just going to measure the. We're just going to measure the diameter of those. 46. Let's just do this one just for fun. Yeah, so they're 46 through 47. You may just be able to see that. These are the oars with these 3D printed oar sleeves that I made for the sea hopper. Just going to measure the width of those as well. 45, okay, just under 45. The reason for measuring these will become apparent in 2 takes. So here's the design in AutoFusion 360 of those row oar sleeves you just saw on the sea hopper oars. And the reason I took a measurement of that was I want this just this simple collar bit here. So the first thing I'm going to do is remove this. So I'm removing that little bit there. And then I'm just going to look at the drawing for this. And we can see that is actually 45 millimeters. So we now know if we change this to to the size of the lugger oar, then this will probably fit. If you change the sketch, by the way, and then finish sketch, it will actually automatically change the object that sketch is based on. You can see that circle is bang on here. And then if we actually... I just got to move that. There we go. If we inspect the diameter of that, you'll see over here it's 47 millimeters. So we know that's worked. Okay, so let's finish that. There we go. Finished product. Let's see if we can print one. Well, we only need 2. Let's print one out and see what it looks like. So I've slid. These are now both printed. Got this one as well. And you slide them over the end and then up there. I don't think they're too big. They're a little bit chunky monkey, aren't they? But they're okay. The key now will be to get these little grommets made, but I just realised that I may not have a screw big enough for this diameter, which is a bit of a... Yeah, that's a bit of a pain, isn't it? Hello, so I've printed out the original sized kind of oar collar, and this is the big oar collar. The problem I've got is this gap here, and where the screw goes in isn't long enough, so you can see here that that's as far as I can get the screw. Let me get a good picture there. So that's as far as I can get the screw. Let's do that. So that's as far as I can get the screw through in the so it won't reach over into the threaded insert. So we've either got to redesign these so these screws, let's have a look at the screw look. So the screw is this long. Let me get a pair of tweezers so I can show you a bit better. So the screw is only going to about there. So if we shift the little collar in so it's nearer the end here, these would probably work. Or we need longer screws, but these are the longest screws I've got. Yeah, I think I've got two. I think I've got 2 centimetre or 20 mil, and what are these ones? Yeah, 14 mil. They're smaller, so that's a bummer. Only other thing we could do is try and melt the screw in. You could do that, just because, I mean, try and salvage the print. Let me just show you these ones before I go. This one's done. So if push comes to shove, we'll put one of these on and I'll try and get this to work. But I'm not sure we're going to get that to push through. But we'll give it a go. So let's get this one on anyway. So it should slide over like this. Oh, you're off camera there. So it slides on like this. And we're just going to tighten these up. That's got the right way around. Yeah. And then we're just going to tighten them up. And they seem to take the strain quite nicely, actually. Whoop. And you just do, the reason I do 2 and not 1 is that 2 seem to share the load quite nicely, because they could pull the little rivets out. All we want is for this to just stay in place. There we go, and it's not going anywhere. That. So a little tight enough for good measure. Try and get nice and equal. There we go. So now we've got a little collar for our oar, which makes me a lot happier. So here we are in the little modified oar bracket, if you like. And what I've done with this one is, if I just show you the drawing, I've now increased this one back to the 30 mil width, so it's a bigger size. I've put this back so it's thinner because we don't need it any thicker. And let's just close that down. And then in here, if I switch this little drawing on, there, you'll see that's what makes the screw holes through. Now, originally, where the screw would sit would be right back here. Now, if I can just show you, if I highlight where the screw sits now, that is where the screw is going to sit now. So it's got loads of travel, whereas before it was sort of here and the screw wouldn't even go across the gap here. So I'm going to print one of these off because I've got time today, and then I'm going to put one on one oar and one on the other, and we'll see how it goes. Here we go. Let's slide this one on. There we go. It's quite tight, this one, to begin with. And then all we do, again, same as before, just tighten these up. You can see the little gap here closing down. It seems to work really well, this method. I've never had any of my oars slip on the sea hopper. These are a whole different kettle of fish. They're big old 8.5 feet lugger oars, but you know, they belong on the boat, and I need to learn to row a bit. So I'm taking them down. I'm going to leave them on the boat, and you know, we're going to learn to row. We've got some goodies that have come. First thing we'll have a quick look at is here. This is from Trident UK, which is like the mirror dinghy website. Oh, okay, so we've got some mirror tape in here. This is the tape we need just to re-tape up the outside of that little chine on the mirror. We only need about, I'd say 18 inches. It's about 45 centimetres. But I need to tape up where it's kind of worn through, so we can get that sorted. I got some of these little, general purpose shackles, because I realised I don't have any with a 5mm. They're 316 stainless steel, of course. Don't have any 5mm ones on the boat, and then I've got a couple of these as well, just general purpose smaller shackles. You know, you always need these, as you saw in the last video when I was sailing. You always lose them, and you need a few on board, really, especially when you're cruising. So that's my little Trident order. Probably costs more for the postage than it did the bits, but I do need them. Now we come on to the cool stuff. So down here I've got a few parts, and all will be revealed. First of all, this is a locker door. This is a watertight degree level 2 locker door. I've actually also got matching keys to lock these up. So it'll give me a little, a little bit of security on the boat. I'm sure if someone really wanted to, they could yank these open. But, these close watertight. Well, they're supposed to anyway. And these, I'm just going to take these out. These are actually little drawers. This is actually the storage locker that goes into here. And I'm not going to do it now because I think you really need to push it through and snap it shut. But that storage locker goes through there and ends up something like this. So we've got a bit of storage that we're going to put in these rear buoyancy or bow buoyancy tanks. I don't like the fact there's a little hole in there with inspection in there and all the foam and the polystyrene's all been hacked out. I think now I've done that, I may as well use that space. This little area here is a tiny little space to sacrifice, really. If I'm on the sea and I'm worried about buoyancy and capsize, etc., etc., well, do you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to fill these with water bottles or empty milk bottles, to get the buoyancy back. And what we're going to do is we're going to foam all the outside of the buoyancy tank where we cut this out in one side, and the other side I'm hoping we can cut the polystyrene out quite accurately, so we'll only cut out that little piece. So when you close these up, I guess this will stop water from getting from outside the boat into these lockers. The problem I do have is this seal here is not waterproof, it's just a plastic clip. So if we compromise the outside of the hull where the buoyancy tank is and water were to ingress into the buoyancy tank, first of all, it's not going to ingress so much because we've got it filled with polystyrene and foam anyway. However, it could enter into here and fill this up with water. So they're not watertight in that manner, which is a bit of a shame. We could make them watertight because, as you can see, they come right down here, and we don't want to remove these ever, so a little bit of silicone sealant around there wouldn't go amiss, and it will be fine. We don't want to put these in first because I like to bolt these in. I don't like to screw them in. The screws always come away, especially on moving parts on fiberglass. So obviously we will also sealant these in as well, but I'm really excited. The only thing that's sort of keeping me up at night with these is that they're a little bit big, but as far as my measurements are concerned, they should fit. And then the other thing we've got actually with them are these little let's get you a bit closer there, are these little drawers. So they I think this locker is called a fishing locker, and it's designed for fishermen. And then look, you've got these drawers with all kinds of little sort of things, segments you can make with them. I guess they're for like fishing flies and tackle and things, something like that. But you can actually slot these in, and the nice thing is when the door closes, it pushes against these little parts here, so they don't shake and rattle. So who knows? These may be super useful. Well, I mean, they will be super useful, won't they? But if they rattle or if they're just a bit too much, we know we've got the full locker, and we can fill it with a bag or milk bottles to get the buoyancy back if we need to. But I think these are going to work. So this is my ladder that I bought for my boat, and it kind of works. There's a few problems with it though. First problem was, where to sort of harness it to. And I've now got my rear cleats, so I'm hoping that that will solve that problem. The other thing was that this floated, and it just floated, and it got in a big mess like this, so you didn't know where your foot was going to go. So one idea came up, is I put a few stones in this bag, and I tied the bag to the bottom here, which kind of worked. It definitely held the ladder in. But the issue I had with that was, if you imagine the ladder, it pulled the ladder sort of like this, because it's only on one point. So that didn't work brilliantly. I also, stowing the ladder and whatnot with this bag of stones, didn't work very well. So I've noticed I've got these little sort of rubber sleeves in here that I don't think they move, but I was thinking if I could get something in here to weigh them down, but at the same time straighten things up, then that might be an idea. On having a peruse in my little workshop, I found this, and this is called threaded bar, and I've got like a few meter lengths of it. So what I did was I cut that meter length down into this length. Now this is a lot thinner, so I think I can even get 2 in here. I haven't tried yet. So this we could put and slip it in here like so. And I think that's tight enough that it won't move. And let's see if we can get one the other side. I'm not so sure. I don't think we can get one the other side, but what we can do is put one on... So that's going to go that way. We can put one on the one above it as well. May as well. I think this is stainless steel. You know, you use it, you can use it in building, and I used it to sort of make a bit of a foundation hold for my wall so it goes into soil. It doesn't rust. So there we go. Other benefit of this is it's now, no matter how much you pull on that, those bars aren't going to let the ladder close up. And the other benefit is, you know, it's not really going to alter. In fact, it might pack up just that little bit nicer like that. And it's easier to deploy. It's not going to, you know, get all tangled up like before.